Hello there. This is going to be my review for Ahsoka Episode 4. If you want to see what I thought of the previous episodes, I have reviews for each on my channel. There will be heavy spoilers ahead, so be careful. So we open with Ahsoka, Huyang, and Sabine attempting to fix the ship. And Ahsoka has a very mature conversation with Sabine about destroying the map if they can't use it to find Ezra. And I thought that was very... Like I said, it was very mature, it was very true Jedi-like, to put the needs of the many in front of the few, and I thought that was it teased what was to come as well. It teased what's to come at the end of the episode, a certain decision that a character makes, and I thought that how they threaded that at the beginning was quite good. So, Morgan keeps making jabs at Baylan, and he keeps clapping back with wise and badass responses. When she says, "Is that fear in your voice?" he just says, "No, it's experience." And that is great. I really like how he's really calm and he's just honest about every situation he's in. He's quite open and I quite like that. So you get to the bit where the assassin droid attacks Huyang, and I think the fight was quite good. He really handles himself quite well against the HK assassin droids. The HK assassin droids have quite the reputation in the Star Wars universe, in canon and legend, so to see Huyang hold his own against one was really cool to see. So... oh god, Sabine has that Mando plot armor. So ever since Mando Season 1, this is something I actually don't like about every live-action series with Mandalorians in general, really. I don't like how, when it comes to main characters in Star Wars, they have that... Stormtroopers seem to have the Stormtrooper aim, and they don't hit any of their targets when it could be fatal. But when it came to the Mandalorian, and then now Sabine, blaster fire just tends to, it tends to get drawn to their armor like magnets, and it's very distracting when you know that, like, if they weren't wearing armor, then those blaster shots would not even come close, if that makes any sense at all. So I found that kind of distracting how, yeah, blaster bolts always seem to find their mark on Mandalorian armor, but not when anyone's not wearing armor, and I kind of don't like that. So Hera Syndulla, she continues to rebel against her superiors, and she goes off on her own to find Sabine and Ahsoka. And I really like, again, she's just being awesome. She just doesn't give a shit about what anyone else says, and she'll just do what she wants. And I've always liked that about Hera, and then, it's great here as well. So Carson Teva makes his return from The Mandalorian. I thought that was quite an interesting detail. Like, it reminds me of, like, Marvel Phase 1, when they had very subtle connections in those first few films. So, like, just certain characters that crossed over into each film that kind of, like, led to the first Avengers movie. And I kind of like that, because it's just very subtle, but you can tell it's going somewhere. So I think Carson Teva might be the one to bring everyone together for the big crossover movie that is happening. So that might bring Ahsoka, Sabine, Din Djarin, Bo-Katan, and Boba Fett together somehow. And I think that would be... it's going to be a great movie for sure, if they can pull it off and stick the landing. So yeah, I really like that. One thing I was asking myself during the episode, with Sabine has a Mandalorian armor on at the minute. I'm just wondering, where is Sabine's jetpack? And, like, why is she running everywhere? Like, she has a jetpack. I mean, I know that it needs to happen for the plot, but, like, she could have flown all the way to Baylan and just used her rockets on her jetpack to blow the map up. But, that would have made the episode and the series a whole lot shorter, but, like, they could have at least acknowledged it. Like, maybe she lost it or something, it was destroyed. But, like, it kind of seemed weird. Like, the same as in that Mandalorian episode in Season 2, when they're on Tython, and Din Djarin has a jetpack, but he just doesn't use it. And then it's just the sake of the plot needs to happen. And again, it's the same. It suffers the same thing here. Like, I just don't like that. So, but yeah, hopefully she gets her jetpack back in a future episode. Or maybe it is just destroyed and gone. So Shin and Sabine's rivalry continues to be fun. Like, it was kind of teased when they fought in episode 1, but here it's like, it's so obvious. Like, the way they just look at each other and then just, like, start throwing fists. Like, Ahsoka's just... I love the way Ahsoka looks at them both like she knows they're gonna be they're going to be the two throwing fists at each other, and then Ahsoka's going to be fighting Marok. She just knew. And I just love the way they looked at each other. The simultaneous duel between Sabine and Shin and Ahsoka and Marok is quite fun. That's just Star Wars to me. My favourite duel in all of Star Wars, really, is Anakin versus Obi-Wan and Sidious versus Yoda. And I love that because the energy just keeps going because it's simultaneous. And it's very fun to watch. And I really liked this one because it reminded me of that, and it just kept the energy going, even though Sabine and Shin's duel was quite fast-paced, and then contrasting that, you had Ahsoka and Marok, who was like, they were quite slow-moving and trying to anticipate their moves, and I guess that just shows the level of experience, like the skill gap between the four combatants, and I find that quite cool. Oh god, Marok, man. Oh, so yeah, Marok gets sliced, and he explodes into green mist. So obviously he's cursed by Morgan. Probably he probably was an Inquisitor at some point, but then lost his identity after being cursed by Morgan. I think it might have been a Darth Nihilus situation where, like, originally he was a guy, but then under the mask, eventually he became nothing, just an entity. And I think that's what maybe Morgan did to Marok. Who even knows? Maybe he's not even gone for good. Perhaps Morgan can just spawn him back whenever she wants. And maybe that might be quite cool, like, see if they have to kill Morgan to even kill Marok for good. And that would be quite a kind of clever way of, like, fighting, because obviously they're fighting someone they can't kill, so they'd have to kill the source of the magic. So, yeah, that's quite cool. Hopefully it comes to that. Hopefully I'm being clever here. So, yeah. So Ahsoka's snarkiness returns. So when she's speaking to Baylan, and Baylan says, "Oh, Anakin spoke very highly of you," and she just says, "Really? He never mentioned you." That's something very, very Ahsoka. She behaved that way between herself and Maul in Clone Wars Season 7. You know, the kind of sarcasm, I kind of love it. I love Ahsoka's snarky sarcasm kind of vibe. So Baylan Skoll, his entire character is just amazing. Like, there's not much I can say about it. I can tell, like the episode title implies, a fallen Jedi. He's not really dark, he's not really light, he's just fallen. He's lost faith, but he still upholds his values. At the same time, he was raised in the Jedi Order, and he's not entirely dark side or Sith, so he's still going to maintain those values and mentalities as a Jedi does, and it's quite cool to see. So, Ahsoka versus Baylan, it seems like a samurai versus knight kind of fight, which I love. It's like a crossover, and I really liked it. Baylan's quite powerful and fast, and she's quite fluid and precise, and I quite like that duel. So, Sabine either uses the Force and slaps Shin, or she tries to, and Shin flinches, which I find interesting. I can see that fans might be discussing this for a couple of weeks, because it's never actually, I can't tell. I can't tell if it was a forced slap, or if she was just flinching. Shin's kind of reaction didn't really give much away. You know, her reaction could have gone either way. It could have been her reacting to her trying to use a force push, just resulted in a minor slap, or it just didn't work at all. So it's interesting, and I kind of like that. So Ahsoka burns her hand on the map and subsequently loses the duel. Good. It's a good way to have a lose to Baylan without making her seem underpowered, because let's be honest, let's be real, she did fight Vader, she did go toe-to-toe with him, she was almost his equal, you could say, and it's quite a good detail that when we're talking about her versus Vader, that in this duel, she also kind of like tries to throw the fight because she knows the bigger picture. So in her fight with Vader, she can see that the temple is coming down, so she tries to break the floor with her lightsabers, regardless of if that's going to kill her or not, to try and get out of there, to try and save her and him. And that she throws the fight to do this, and people often overlook this. So that's the same thing here, like, she's prioritizing getting hold of this map and maybe destroying it, rather than beating Baylan. You know, really, again, it's doing that causes her to lose, because if she hadn't grabbed the map, she wouldn't have burnt her hand. And then it was obvious that when she burnt her hand, she was on her back foot quite a bit, and then she lost to Baylan. He even says that was a big mistake, and it probably was, because she now has to fight with an injured hand. or fight one-handed. So, yeah, but that was quite cool. So Sabine's family seems to be dead, and Baylan implies that it's because of Ahsoka. And I don't know what's gone on there, but it might be the Great Purge, and she might not have listened about Gideon or something. But I want to see what happened there. I want to see them discuss it, or like maybe we'll see it in the next episode. Maybe Ahsoka will be reflecting through the world between worlds and see the Night of 1,000 Tears, and maybe regretting what she did. Maybe she'll be feeling some guilt. Maybe that's why she's been quite stoic over this season, because she probably feels the immense responsibility and guilt of the things she's done. But, you know, she's not perfect, and I like that, because it's a criticism that a lot of Star Wars characters get, especially females, when they're too perfect and they don't make mistakes. Ahsoka is a master level, you know, Force user, but she's still making mistakes and still learning from them, but still struggling with them. So I kind of like that. Sabine makes a deal with the devil, and it was very shocking and masterful manipulation and diplomacy by Baylan. It also shows that Baylan is capable of using alternate means other than killing and fighting. It's quite Jedi-like. Like, he could have just killed Sabine and taken the map and be done with it, but he doesn't. He gives her the opportunity to put down her weapons, and I like that. I like that. I can't even say that he's evil. I can't say that he's dark side. It's like he's doing what he's doing with a heavy heart. Like, he doesn't want to be fighting anyone. He doesn't want to be killing anyone. But he thinks the ends justify the means. Like, he's not going to go out of his way to kill you. But if you get in his way, he will. And I kind of like that. I really like that. So Baylan and Shin and Morgan get away on the hyperspace ring, and Jason has a bad feeling. So Jason Syndulla has a bad feeling. I think it's quite clear that he's sensing that through the Force, and I think that's great that they're showing and not just telling us like the epilogue of Rebels, that he has the Force, his powers are growing, and he might need to be trained soon. And I really like that. I'm gonna be looking forward to seeing where his training goes, where his story goes. So, Ahsoka wakes up in the world between worlds, and oh my god, this scene got me. It got me. Like, I didn't know what was happening, and then you hear Hayden Christensen as Anakin's voice, and I was like, no, they're not going to do this. They're not going to have his ghost talking to it. Like, I thought it was just going to be a disembodied voice, like Yoda was in Rebels to Ezra, but no, she turns around and he is stood there. And he looks amazing. He looks so young, and the de-aging is immaculate. They've really mastered it, and he looks young. He sounds young. He sounds like in the trailer. Hayden sounds a lot like he sounds a lot like Matt Lanter in Clone Wars. Like, it's like a hybridization of his own performance and his performance, and I love it. And I know people are going to be on their knees in tears over this scene, and honestly, I was shook. I was utterly shook, and I'm so looking forward to next week now. I think everyone is. I did see Star Wars Theory's reaction to it, and he was ready to get into tears, but the episode didn't give him the opportunity to, because it cut him off prematurely. And God, everyone's going to be looking forward to next week. I know they are. Jesus, I just can't. I'm still struggling to process it now. I just can't believe they've done this. So yeah, honestly, best episode so far. Like, I give it a 9 out of 10, and I'm only giving it a 9 out of 10 because I know next week's is gonna be a 10 out of 10. I know it will be. It's just gonna be a great episode, and we're going into uncharted territory now. So we haven't. So all the trailer footage, I mean, except for that shot of Thrawn, has been in the series now. So largely, we're going into some new stuff, and I'm so looking forward to it. So that's going to be all for now, guys. So thank you for listening to my review of Ahsoka Episode 4, and stay tuned for my Friday upload. We'll be making it, we'll be recording it after this, so it will be dropping on Friday, if everything goes right. I have to apologise for the way it went last week, because I had some issues with the editing software. It wasn't rendering properly. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I'll see you guys on Friday, and I'll see you guys next week for Ahsoka episode 5, where things will be getting really good. So that's all for now, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe,